And welcome back to Hannity. We continue now with our audience comprised of law-abiding New York gun owners. Their names and addresses were published by the Journal News. All right, you just heard the other side of this debate. How does that make you feel?
I just want to make a comment about the Rockland County Sheriff's Department. I recently retired from there after 20-some-odd years as a detective, and I've spent most of my career trying to keep my name, my address, my family off of Facebook, off of everything.
Me too. It hasn't worked.
Right. Well, it did for me until just the other day.
So that hurts, because a lot of criminals know who you are.
Yeah, and now
that
they
makes
know
it
where
very
I live.
hard.
Yeah. So
I worry about that a lot. Because these guys, and you were making that point, they put their lives on the line, and now you're in jeopardy.
Right.
That's scary, and your kids and your family.
That's right. That's correct.
Sir, we haven't heard from you yet. Yeah.
I was a New York City detective for quite a few years, and I put a lot of very bad people away. And I don't know how many of those people still carry a grudge. They know my name. Now they know where I live.
Sean, you said that the pinhead from representing the Journal News said that these guys shouldn't worry, that these guys shouldn't be scared.
It's easy for him to say.
But guess what? As soon as the names and the addresses of the editors from the Journal News got out, now they're running to beat John Wayne to the NRA membership drive. They've got armed guards.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
You know, I mean, it's amazing how when stuff starts to turn, how, there's a great awakening, why people's privacy. You know, they're all on the First Amendment.
Oh, I agree. This is like these Hollywood hypocrites. They fly around in their own private jets, but they lecture us about our SUVs.
You mean Al Gore?
Al Gore, yes, ma'am.
Al Gore.
Al Jazeera Gore, yes. But think about this. Hollywood stars, they can afford armed bodyguards. Rightly so. We protect our president, we protect our mayors, we protect our cabinet officials and politicians. I think that's the right thing to do.
We should protect everybody. Everybody.
But the average person does not have the money for an armed guard.
Right.
And that's what's dangerous. Yes, sir. You wanted to weigh in.
Yeah, I wanted to bring in, you brought up before about the governor's confiscation bill. In Nazi Germany, they had a propaganda magazine called Der Stürmer. They had an article that they titled "The Jew Next Door." The Journal News, their article was titled "The Gun Owner Next Door." The Germans registered every gun. That's what the governor wants to do. And they confiscated every gun. The governor's talking about a confiscation. These are scary times.
And
that is
Sean, it's that fear-mongering headline that had no nexus whatsoever to the article, which many high school newspapers would reject because there was no substance whatsoever in the article, and they let the map stand on its own.
How many think this
and
is
I thought that was unethical. I contacted the Gannett ethics officer, and you know what? They said that they handle whistleblowers and they reward whistleblowers, that they could do nothing about this. I let them know that an article that followed, the frequently asked questions article, in which they claimed that this list couldn't be downloaded or used for any commercial or soliciting purpose, that I had the list in my possession, that I had over 16,000 names and addresses. All right? And they didn't want to know anything about it.
Let me get to these people who haven't spoken yet. In the back, thank you for your patience. Yes, sir.
A newspaper, as far as I'm concerned, is supposed to report news, not make news. And that's what that's what's been done here. They just made news.
Unless they're feeding, there's a reason, there's an agenda for it. And they're creating a divide right now. They've created it's a sense of us versus them. The people that are gun collectors, the hunters, the shooters, the people out there that are lawful, law-abiding citizens that have the weapons, and the other people that are saying, no, we don't want this. Now you've created such a rift in between the two. The media's been running wild, calling us, demonizing us.
It's amazing. Well, how many, just to show here, how many think that all this discussion about gun control is to exploit a tragedy by politicians? You all agree with that?
But it's going to backfire on him.
Yeah.
Cuomo, who may want to
hang on, we don't have a mic on you yet. Go ahead.
It's going to backfire. Cuomo, who may want to be president, is now not going to be president.
I think that's true.
Because he doesn't live in New York. Right. New York is different than the rest of the country, and I think a lot of independents are going to be waking up to the fact that.
You know what's amazing? Joe Biden made this as he pushed the idea that they'd bypass Congress, which we can get into the political side of this in our next segment. But he also said, it's an argument that liberals often use, that if only one life is saved. Well, I can save one life right now, and I could take everybody's car away. We can take everybody's airplane away. We can take hammers away. We could take baseball bats away. What's that?
Hammers.
Yeah, blunt instruments, hammers, bats are used more often than rifles to kill people every year. Al Sharpton said he wants knife control if there was ever an incident with knives.
And assault rifles are only a small portion of those 363 or whatever the number is rifle deaths.
I'm going to pick up from that point when we get back. We'll take a break. You haven't spoken yet. You're very shy back there. I'm going to bring you in. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue now with our studio audience. It's made up of gun owners who were outed by the Journal News. All right, some of you we've not heard from. You are very quiet. I really want to know, you've been listening to all this, your reaction.
We had no choice. We were just outed by the Journal News. There was no opt-in. There was no opt-out. They just put it out there. I'm self-employed. I work from home. If somebody's watching my house, it looks like everybody's gone and there's nobody home. I'm home. I'm home all day. I'm home alone. Now I feel like every time a car is slowing down in front of the house, is it somebody just turn it around? Are they watching the house?
Do you find that you
terrifying.
have the gun closer now because you feel the danger is greater?
Yes, when I'm in the house alone.
Yeah. And you're married to him?
Yes.
He married way up.
Probably. Yeah. Well, I wanted to know about the pin map. What was, I don't know if you know, but both of us have licenses, and I just want to let you know that gun owners are the most intelligent and they are the most trained in guns. So you really want us around. But what happened with the pin map is that not everybody in the household was named to have on the Journal News. So that meant that their intent was just to show where you lived. So if there's 2 or 3 gun owners in your house, they did not necessarily list you on that list.
It targeted our home. It names me. It doesn't name him.
Our house. They wanted to know where you were on that block.
That's scary.
But my name.
Look, one of the things that frustrates me. Remember, Rahm Emanuel said, "Never let a crisis go to waste." Well, okay, here's one. But here's the problem. How many of you agree this will not solve the problem? Do you all agree with that? Yes. Everyone agrees. If let's say they ban assault weapons, and the next shooting incident is a guy that comes in with 5 pistols wrapped around his thing, and he takes them one out right after another, then they're going to ban pistols, right? It's slippery. Deneen.
That's what it is. I'm tired of the elites telling we the people what to do, how to do, and when. And it's a good thing you're doing this special. Thank you so much, because people are outraged about this.
Yeah. So what's the next step? Do you think their ultimate goal is to disarm the American people?
Absolutely.
You all agree?
Sean, this is, yes, it's about intimidation, but it really goes beyond that, because it's intimidation, then it's registration, then it's confiscation. They're talking about it right now. And, all these people want to ban these evil, AR-15s, and I'm Jewish. And I think what would the German Jews done with a whole bunch of AR-15s and stockpiles of weapons? They wouldn't have been murdered, and that cuts deep in my community.
It's interesting, as you study the founders and framers, they were very clear. They weren't talking about shooting Bambi or hunting. They were talking about protecting yourself against tyranny and government. If you say they were radical. But if you say that
and we're
today,
somehow crazy for thinking that it's going to happen. It happened to the Armenians.
Germany,
it happened to the Germans.
French,
it happened in China. It
Italy,
happened in Uganda.
Spain,
I mean,
Japan,
it always
again
starts with disarmament.
All right, let me point out one statistic.
If you give up one right,
you start to give up all rights. Where do you stop?
The CD, Centers for Disease Control, and the CDC, they reviewed 51 published studies, and I wrote this down, about the effectiveness of gun control laws, 8 types of them. They found it was insufficient evidence. The Department of Justice looked at the Clinton ban, the assault weapons ban. They found it was not effective. You were saying something to me during the break. I wanted to give you a chance to say that.
One of the points that I made was that Journal News has never explained why. They've never given a valid reason for doing this. So you have 2 issues at hand with the consequences of what they did. You have, number one, over 95% of all gun crime are committed with illegal guns. So you just gave a shopping list to all the criminals who need a new gun. Number 2, you expose all the people who don't to home invasion, who aren't protected. But the third question is the real reason why they did it. The real reason why they did it is to embarrass people, to expose neighbor against neighbor.
Scarlet G. That was what we didn't run it tonight, and I should have, but that's what Eric Holder said. Ma'am, I'm not going to let you leave here without talking tonight. I know you've been very quiet and shy, but thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I just find it ridiculous that they're posting my name and my address. What about people who have been arrested with illegal guns? Why don't you post their addresses? We should be more afraid of
Because
them.
we don't know those.
Yeah, sure.
Now think about that. The people that didn't go through the year-long process, it took about a year for all of you to get a
But
permit.
those have been
2 years for you?
arrested.
They have the names of sex offenders, though. They could be publishing those on a map.
Yeah, what about liberals, the right to privacy, right?
The worst thing that we're going to see right now as a legislator is, and I disagree with Mr. Gold on this, yes, you're going to see bills coming from the Senate and from the Assembly that are going to protect us in this manner, but they're going to be coupled with gun control laws that are going to be hideous to us, that are going to be it's going to come as a package, and that is the way that it's going to get passed.
All right, we're out of time. Give yourselves a big hand. Thank you all for coming, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you all.